There are so many things I want to talk about, but I know that the time is actually running out a little bit, and we are overrunning a little bit. So I'll try to stick to the presentation material as much as I can. This is what we had last year when we launched the RPET 100%. Talking about gold brain. It's very nice, you know, how these designs talk about nature and this and that gold brain. Actually, I'm telling you that the thematic is changing this year because I'll tell you later why. We launched this bottle called Gold Brain Bottle because we sort of thought that no one's going to understand what is RPET, so let's make it simple and call it Gold Brain. But it wasn't a very right decision at that point in time. I'll tell you why later. Where should we want to continue? Thank you. Here, oh, good. Good. I know why it's tricky now. Where's Mike? So, tell me about this one. This is the situation back in 2012 when I joined the company. My boss actually told me that she wanted the brand to be sporty, charity, and green. And I was thinking, okay, well, we've been supporting a lot of sport events. We've been sponsoring like 200. By the way, I just have to advertise our company a little bit. In Hong Kong, we're the leader of water and also a couple of other categories, but we're mainly talking about water and water here. And she told me that we have to be good brand in terms of sporting, being charity, and being green. And I was looking at her and thinking, what, green? I mean, honestly, today, after so many presentations, how many presenters mention about bottled water? Probably 80% of them. Everyone, when they talk about recyclable plastic, waste of plastics, everything, it's the first thing that comes to mind is actually the plastic bottles, particularly water. There was another, I'm not going to talk about that first, but there was another green organization previously we worked with, or, well, I also usually call work with, but usually they attack us. But when we work with them, I said, why do you focus so much on water? And the chairman of that group was very honest with me and said, because you're so easy to be targeted. Because when we talk about other things like juice or soft drinks, and everything, you have other content and not only water. So it makes so much sense to target you because you shouldn't exceed at all. And I was thinking, okay, well, but anyway, I do want to share that later on, let me jump a little bit. My plan is not just water, basically all beverages. I think that the PET should be made by recycled PET. But back to this one. My boss was telling me that I should go green, but I was looking at her and scratching my head. We're not green at all. And okay, well, we have competitors claiming that they have a green bottle. By the way, any of my competitor around here, please raise your hand. Good. Then I can talk more freely. Well, obviously, Coca-Cola is my biggest competitor in Hong Kong, and they have one aqua there. And they call themselves environmental and eco bottle also. And for information, they're using about 30-something% of plant-based material and PET, and because of reducing the carbon footprint, they call themselves the environmental friendly bottle. And I sort of like try to understand, if we try to be green, we actually have to be green. We cannot just invest into money and sponsor, to making donation to charity and then saying that we're green. We have to do something. So from that time, we were investigating possibilities of how to make our waters greener, and that's when Gao came in. That was actually one of those people we worked with. You don't get that. But anyway, he actually wrote some article and pointing particularly to Watson's water bottle and saying that we use too much plastic and whatsoever. And we invited Doug for a quick chat, and then we started building on the relationship. And I have to give credit to Doug because he was the person, I can still remember that day when having a coffee with him. He brought over a bottle from Canada and saying, hey, look at this, is 100% recycled PET. He was thinking, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know we make that down to 100%. And then from there, we've done a lot of investigation on how to get there. Eventually, we become there. But the very important thing is, when we talk about green, it's not just talking about it, we have to do something, and we investigated whether we should be, what we should be going ahead for. To me, I made this red and green really clearly. We studied whether we should be doing plants-based, which is good, but not as good. And we talk about doing a biodegradable. I particularly asked a couple of people, for PET particularly, you agree with me that the contamination of mixing the biodegradable plastics together with non-PET in the recycling system might not be a very good thing. So eventually we decided that we're going to keep PET, however we want to use recycled material. And it's quite interesting how the conversation went to whether we should be doing 25% or we just do something like 50%, because when I was doing 35%, let's do 50% with beef there. And I say, no, why? I mean, if there is a reason for us to do something good, why not 100% if we can? So we started off, it's quite interesting, we started off and I pushed my procurement, pushed my QA/QC production and saying that, why don't you come up with a solution of 100%? I don't want to do one step. What am I going to tell people? I'm going to tell people, oh, stealing is not good, but I'm just doing part of it. It's okay. Well, it's not okay. So we go for 100% to start off. Just to echo with a couple of people talking about the recycling system, I'm actually quite interested to know from San in terms of where did you actually get that 30 states from? According to my information, in Hong Kong there are a lot of legal recyclers. Of course, I think you work with the bigger one. There are local retail shops open to collect recyclable material from some elderly. They probably don't have much to do, so they go around and collect things and try to earn a bit of a part-time money. And iron, 50 or metal, 50 cents, except on million, particularly expensive, which is good. And paper is 40 cents per kilogram. Plastic is nothing. It's not talking about plastic worth nothing, but it is talking about for those people at the retail shop taking it worth nothing, because if they take the plastic, they have to squash it, and they have to, well, okay, back to the thing. And I think someone else asked the question, why is the big difference there? It's because the transportation and the logistics and also warehousing or storage of it take into consideration, one being the size or the space it occupies, number two being the weight. And you can imagine that when plastic compared to paper and iron, come on, I mean, it's sizable unless you really squash it, and it's particularly light. So if I have a truck that I want to transport something to sell, of course I will sell the iron and paper instead of plastics. I'm not going to make much money out of plastic, and that's why plastic is not being collected. It's not saying that the weight of plastic doesn't worth money. It is because of the logistic cost of it. That actually saves 18 years. I have been shown, okay, on one hand I'm using recycled PET, at the same time I'm talking about, I worry about if I use recycled material, how recyclable my bottles are. And we investigated what's happening in Hong Kong, as I mentioned. No one actually wants the plastics, even though they got put into a recycled box of the plastics. And these three, well actually there are four things. One of them being glasses is sort of new in these 2 or 3 years. Three of the other boxes have been around for 18 years. Hong Kong government launched this campaign long time ago. But all they focus on have been talking about how people should be putting things in the recycling system without really considering and putting a lot of resources into the recycling infrastructure. What we believe, not just we are consuming recycled material, and is we want to create commercial value on recycled material. I know that even back to some of the speakers today talking about how to actually get a recycling system to work. Jack actually has been talking about rebates all the time. Some of us talking about how we should encourage the buyer, encouraging the manufacturer, etc., etc. But honestly, all these commercial companies, what do they look at? They only look at the money value. They just look at, am I going to make more? I'm going to share a bit more of this, the tragedy that I've been going through the past 1 or 2 years. But for this one here, what I'm saying is, it only works if at the very end, consumer wants recycled material. Of course, the consumer will not consumers will not automatically want it unless they get educated. So someone has to start. So we sort of started this thing and say that, okay, not just we use recycled material and fulfill our social responsibility, as well, we want to educate what recycled material is, and we want to really drive the desire of recycled material. Very quickly, I'm not an expert in this area. I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures of these whole recycling processes. There are so many experts here, but I just want to quickly talk about what I'm supporting and where we are heading. First of all, when we talk about recyclability of plastics, it's talking about collection, and we are also talking about it's actually a little bit fake, isn't it? There are actually a lot of processes in the overall recycling. So from collection to straining to washing, and then drying to these pallets, and then we have to pack these pallets. We will be in doing the preparing them before and then becoming a bottles again. This whole process. Oops. Is it tricky? This whole process is sort of shown here. Public recycling has always been focused. So from the government, from the charity, from all the green organizations has been talking and trying to educate the public, hey, let's put things into the recycle system. You should not be putting it in or putting it in junk. Just put it into your 3-color boxes. But as I mentioned, it's quite interesting how when different types of materials put into the 3-color boxes, the metal disappears quite immediately. And the paper disappears immediately. Someone will open up the bin and actually take them out and go and sell them. And the plastics is always full and no one takes it. And a lot of times, as Stanton already mentioned, although your one is misunderstanding, but in a lot of residential area, they do go to they really got dropped into the normal rubbish. So what I'm saying is the overall system, not just the government, this is actually everyone in public. We have been focusing so much on the public recycling. However, there is no recycling collection being done. They have been subsidizing the overall environment has been subsidizing in the washing bin, but no one's doing the palletizing and no one's doing the preform injection of recycled material. And we are now trying to buy some recycled material and have to buy it overseas to actually import from China. So this is quite a really interesting thing. So it's somehow you can say that Hong Kong plastic somehow go to China, and somehow in China we collect it back and then bring it back to Hong Kong. But it's so much of that. And I think someone talked about the logistic costs as well in terms of how things work. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. At this moment, I can tell you that when people are telling me waste of plastic doesn't worth a lot, I will be saying that there is not a cent that we save from moving from using petroleum PET to recycled PET. Not a cent we save. In fact, we spend more on QC, on production, and everything that we want to check and making sure that we are up to the same standard we used to have. We call ourselves the real green originally. That's what we said. We're not using petrol, we're not using plants, we're only using recycled material. And there's one very important thing that we did as well. I don't understand why the other PET bottles are not doing it. Basically, everyone in Japan is doing it. I really wish if there are anyone who you know someone doing beverages, they should be doing at least as simple as that. Just add some dots on the sleeve so that they can put it off easily. And that's what we did as well. And we do a lot of education, online viral video to talk about different things, and it's not just advertising, but really about the PR of it. When we launched the bottles, actually the media was very excited. My boss was very concerned and saying that, well, people will be challenging this and that, they don't understand, they will do this and they do that. But the fact is, the media, they all got really excited about what we've done. And we prepare sort of like a recycling boxes, particularly showing how people want to separate it, so the cap, the bottom, as well as the sleeves, putting truck into different places in order to get recycled. Now, moving to, it's a learning process. We started off talking about go green, and I have to say that there is no reaction and no effect in the market at all. No one cares about go green, and in fact, I got a lot of criticism and telling me that it is too, it's very old-fashioned to talk about go green to the young people. And we've been to some universities, doing some education, doing some talk, and we talked to the design schools. I'm not going to talk about which one, it's not advertised. But we went to some university and we did some program, some designers helping us to design the program, how to educate people about program, and we received very common feedback saying, oh, this is old-fashioned, because the younger people don't like to be told to do something good. Well, they might be doing something good by themselves, but whenever you talk about social responsibility, there was a point of time some adults were believing that the younger people, they really want to do something good for the society or whatsoever. I can tell you that, well, it's true for someone who actually comes on the stage to talk. But to a lot of people at home playing PC games, they would say this is boring, stop talking about that. What we are moving into is not talking about green. We're talking about innovation. We're talking about something new. We're talking about something that people have misunderstanding. Honestly, the young people like turning things around. And the latest thing that we are moving towards, this is still not the latest thing, but we're talking about an exit. We're talking about, just to translate a little bit, we're giving plastic waste an exit. And I think the better interpretation is we're still in work in progress. Doug asked me if I can share some work in progress campaign, because we haven't yet finished the summer, but we started making this kind of thing. For information, for those people who cannot see it, we were making a range of posters. Like on the left-hand side, it says only in but no out, because you see an entry, but there is no exit. And this is exactly how the recycling system works. Because yes, you can put things into the 3-color boxes, but it goes nowhere except going to landfill, also landfill. And so the other one is sort of like breaking the wall. So we're showing an exit to a greener field, and this is what we're doing. I still don't know where to come. Oh, okay. I just going to share with you 2 slides of comments that I commonly receive from competitors, consumers, and later I have another slide from internal. And I will tell you how much I suffered in the past 2 years by answering these questions. It's very difficult to answer. Number one, people have been asking me, this is from different people, media have been asking me, so where have you been, okay, so we've done the recyclable PET, but the whole recycling system doesn't work too well. So when do you actually put you said you created some recycled boxes to collect bottles, where do you put them? And I can tell you that there's no way we can put them. Because in Hong Kong, everyone is asking me for rental for putting that recycled bins there with a brand of bottles. So, unfortunately, that's probably I need to ask my big boss Mr. Lee, because he's probably one of the reasons why the property prices are high. But anyway, the second one, no one ever thought of asking for recycled material. This is actually a very, very big question to ask. We have been trying to tell people that we are recycled PET, but the problem is no one really cares because it never happened. We can't be selling a feature that never happened, and then people want that. So it's a lot of work that we are working on in terms of PR, in terms of lobbying with different types of organizations, including why I'm here today, is to raise the idea that the only way to make the recycling work is if consumers start to notice that they wanted recycled material in their products. And in fact, someone actually mentioned it. There are people caring about biodegradable labeling whatsoever. No one cares about having a state how much or what percentage of recycled material is in each of the products of the packaging. And I really think that we should be asking for that. And also 100% recycled equals to 100% recyclable. I think everyone here understands what I'm talking about. These are two different things. But unfortunately, most of the consumers that I have to explain again and again and again and again to explain to them what is the meaning of recycled material. Every time I talk about 100% recycled material, there are some people, oh, I know, and then they start talking about 100% recyclable. And then I said, okay, basically all PET bottles are recyclable, but just that we do 100% recycled. And also, there are people urging me to say, oh, you're not doing the right thing, you should be doing biodegradable bottles. I think there are some experts explained to you already, and I specifically asked a couple of things, so I'm not going to go through that again. But I receive a lot of people talking about, because they get so excited whenever they hear about biodegradable, and they think that I should be using biodegradable. And also, this is not something related to you, but Bonacqua has been educating people that you should be twisting the bottle before you throw it into recycle bin. But I've been talking to the recycler a lot, and they really complain about it, especially if you don't remove the sleeves before you do that. And also, it's quite interesting how people think. Because we have been educating people that you should be removing the sleeve and then removing the cap before you recycle, people think that only wasn't water being so troublesome. All other PET bottles do not require that kind of complicated step to get recycled. So it's quite interesting. I mean, I'm just trying to tell people why you should be doing that, but they think that you're troublesome. Other bottles you don't need to recycle that way. So we receive these kind of consumers. They're very simple-minded, honestly, those consumers. They do not spend time. Trying to understand what is recycled PET. So it has to be very tough. And in fact, not just outside. When I mentioned that there was not a lot of impact in externally in terms of the market share, sales, or consumer feedback. And now I've got all these questions from the internal as well. And I'm still trying to handle these questions, although it has been more than a year now that we've launched this 100% thing. The very first thing is people would be asking, well, some branding expert come over to me and say, Kim, you are the leader of marketing. Do you think that being equal is a differentiating factor that will switch people and that people will buy your water instead of others? And of course, their internet channel is telling me that it is no. It is something that you should be doing. It's just a social responsibility and whatsoever. It's very difficult. And then it's quite interesting because there are other products talking about they're equal, they're green, and therefore, because if we talk about green, then we are the followers. And in fact, it is no matter how hard we talk about our RDP and whatsoever, in Hong Kong we are so far being classified, oh, okay, what's this? You are after Bonacqua, because Bonacqua talked about the plant motors something like 4 or 5 years ago. And now when we talk about Go Green, we were classified as the follower. So that's why I was saying that the Go Green thing was not the future direction. We're going to talk about innovation and whatsoever. And do they really care about the differentiation of our PET versus other type of eco bottles? And also, there was a big challenge saying that if Hong Kong plastic recycling system is not effective, then when we're promoting recycled PET, it is actually taking a break to get into because people will be challenging us and this and that. I mean, these are all the comments that I receive every day from senior management as well as you. And also, this one I've already mentioned, young people think CSR and eco old-fashioned stuff. Believe it or not, I think a lot of people here are very passionate about it, but it is so true when you talk to the consumers out there, especially when bottled water, most of the consumers are around that age. It's almost getting to the very few last slides. I just want to share with you as a bottler, well, as a manufacturer of bottled water, what we actually supporting. It's quite interesting that I find a lot of common thoughts that we think that the waste charging is it's something very important to get especially those people in Hong Kong, probably in China as well. Whenever we talk about dollars, they sort of okay, they get alerted. Waste charging is one thing, and then we're thinking of the cost waiting for recyclers to run the business, and also subsidizing on the investment in the overall infrastructure is a very, very major thing that I'm trying to lobby. And as well as the overall rebate system, consumers as well as the industry to pay for recycling. So whoever manufacturing, importing, or even buying, consuming should be paying for the overall recycling. This is my thought, which aligns with some other people. That's what we're going to lobby with the government as well. And recognizing and bottle making using recycled materials is another thing that I'm really focusing on, and that's something that I'm going to be not just lobbying, but doing a lot, and as well as education. I think. Just to share with you some ideas of how we are going to execute just a couple of slides of the marketing idea. One of the things that we're going to launch this year to educate about recycled material for those Chinese who understand this recycled life. One thing in China or to the Chinese society is that some of them do not believe in heaven and hell. They believe that people go back to the next life and next life. And so that we are doing, it's just a draft of where we're heading. We talk about how we have past life, and the plastic bottle has a past life as well, and the past life really matters. So this is some of the bottle's past life, or petrol, or plants, but basically bottle play, the whole family through. Not going through details, but not just the past life, and we also will be talking about how bottles have the next life as well. And look forward to also this bottle will be creating a lot of funny, interesting, animated, it's still just a draft, animated characters. They will talk about how every bottle they will get recycled and they have the next life. I think that's about it. Never mind, it's just talking about how we can be running a lot of viral marketing and talking about our main target nowadays are the young people, and that's what we're going to do. Anyone else, any questions? I didn't bore everyone. I just want to share with you how a marketer is having a lot of trouble when we talk about consumers and trying to make that commercialized.
Well, Kim, if I can jump in, because residents, and if you're not a sexy piece of material and you don't get into the afterlife, then you're a piece of junk. And you want to be in the afterlife. So if you're going to be in the afterlife, you need to get into the recycling bin, and you need to get into the system to supply the demand that he's creating by closets. So I think this is going to be great. So anyone have a question for Kim?
The 3 minutes thing was sort of
one over here.
The past slide and next slide is definitely very interesting.
Right. I do congratulate you on this, because using 100% recycled PET to make a beverage bottle, because the water comes into direct contact with your beverage. So the hygiene standard is very tough. So it's congratulating on that. But I just want to clarify if it is 100% from post-consumer PET, or is a mix of pre-industrial and post-consumer.
Definitely all our PET, when it's made into reform into a food level safety kind of thing, is because in the industry there are different types of levels of quality of PET, and we definitely use the food grade, which is the highest level of hygiene that we can use. And most of these kind of plastics, they originally come from food and beverages kind of containers. Otherwise, they cannot really. Maybe some experts can help me, but it's very unlikely that you will have some industrial level use that PET can actually get onto that kind of hygiene level.
Great, thank you, Kim. You'll be around later?
Yes.
Oh, one quick question. Back.
Something I've found in the last couple of presentations, a little misconception, which is you can't get any value from plastic. Being in the recycling business myself, and you briefly showed up there about Yan Weitong closing.
Yes. Yes.
I'm actually responsible for their PET recycling.
Okay.
And I'll tell you something very crazy, and it really relates back to what Michael was saying earlier. The weight that they bale their products at probably reduces the value that they get by about $100 US a ton.
Yes.
So I actually take that material and transport it in Hong Kong to increase the weight. Now, for a foreigner to come into Hong Kong and do that is crazy, just crazy. And they are going to close down because the subsidy probably is too much for the government. So, you know, if industry doesn't invest in the right way, as the example might be, it's going to fail, it's bound for failure. So is your company willing to invest in Hong Kong to create the right situation to encourage recycling?
I can't speak for Mr. Lee, but I have to say that we have a very interesting company structure that Chunko Hutchison and then all the way down to Air Sources Europe and Air Sources Industries. And for some of you who might know about Chunko Hutchison, they have particular divisions investing in waste management and so in different parts of the world. And honestly, I myself have been, because I'm only sort of like responsible for the industries of Air Sources Group. But we've been thinking of writing a proposal to the higher level, to the investment committee, of suggesting that they should be investing something similar to what Mike was describing. I'm a big believer and a big supporter that number one, we don't think that plastics need to be separated as much as the Japanese are doing it at the moment, because that would, I mean, there aren't too many nations can do that kind of details. And we think that we should be collected in bulk and then be separated by machine. One of the failing critical reasons of Innovators failing is because it's a charity running it, so they have to ensure that they employ so many people because they are not a profit-making thing. Otherwise, they would have turned into an automated system long time ago. But if you are making everything so labor, of course the cost is going to be high, and of course the quality is going to be low, and it's not a way out. So I would say that I personally would be proposing, but I cannot answer for the overall. But someone needs to do that eventually. And I'm really happy that the government is willing to subsidize into the infrastructure building. It's just waiting for someone to put in a proposal and say, hey, I'm going to do that. And as I mentioned, sorry about that, the direction shouldn't push from the recycling in, but it should be, the subsidizing should start from the end. That's why my title is starting from the end. So we use it, and then we will be subsidized, and I hope that the infrastructure built from the reform towards towards the start. If you push from the start, it's just a no way out. You have to have an exit open before you attract things into the recycling system. That's what I'm saying.